how things stand in the AFC at the moment. Jets and Patriots are on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. Bengals, Dolphins, and Chargers hold the wild card spots. Leading the way in the conference, the Bills and the Chiefs, both at 10-3. Yeah, I would love to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs this year. On the other hand, if they don't make the playoffs, maybe they get Sean Payton. Like, Justin Herbert deserves better than the fate that he's gotten so far, but he's a good enough quarterback on a good enough team. You shouldn't have excuses. You should make those playoffs. And Lewis, Mike brought it up before, Joe Burrow, a lot of other quarterbacks will have excuses every year. Joe Burrow will live deep in the playoffs. I get that distinct impression. So far, that's how it's been in his very young career. Who is the team to beat in the AFC? Lewis?
You know, man, I hate this question, but I like this question because it makes me grind my gears. I'm going to still say it's Kansas City because of the guy who you were talking about at the beginning of this segment, because of Patrick Mahomes, because of how different he is, because of how special he is, and I'm not one who's going to get bored with his greatness. I just refuse to do it. I refuse to dismiss it. I refuse to spend so much time trying to find someone who can topple him and or his ability to lift everyone around him. Because quite honestly, what he is doing, you know what? We don't even give him enough credit this year because we don't want to give him credit for losing Tyreek Hill and throwing to a very diversified, subset of wide receivers here outside of Travis Kelce. We don't want to give him credit for that. But what he's doing and the numbers he's still putting up, I don't think any other quarterback could do it if you had taken away the things that have been taken away from him. I just don't think anyone else could do it. And so that also means Andy Reid deserves credit. Eric Bieniemy deserves credit. This offensive line deserves credit. The team, the culture deserves credit. And he's a part of all that. He's the one who really drives the bus on all of it. So I'm saying right now, they're the team to beat. Joe, you might do it. You know what? Josh, you may do it. Who knows who else may do it? But until you do, I'm going with him.
Mike?
Cincinnati Bengals, and really maybe a little bit more because on the other side of the ball, guys like Jesse Bates, Von Bell, they're making plays on the back end. The concern is going to be Trey Hendrickson because his wrist, that's a real problem for them. They don't have the depth rushing the passer. Look, most teams don't, except maybe the Bills could survive Von Miller. But they are making plays on the other side of the ball, and I think over time, Joe Burrow is going to turn into this generation of Peyton Manning, where you guys is Patrick Mahomes, is Tom Brady. They're going to be 1-1.
Oh, see, Mike, I see it reverse. Because Peyton Manning was the greatest regular season player of all time. He was way better than Brady and everyone in the regular season. And then when it mattered most, Brady used to be the guy, right? So I wonder if that's not the case. Like, you guys make great points, but because you can't erase 4 years of what Mahomes has done with 1 year of Burrow. But, Lewis, if Burrow gets by Mahomes again this year, after sweeping him in the regular season and then beating him in the AFC Championship game, if Burrow gets by him this year, it is no longer Mahomes' conference. It's Burrow's conference, right?
You're using the wrong verb. He's gone past him 3 times this year.
Yeah, right.
3 times.
Right. Yeah, in this calendar year.
I'm not disagreeing. See, that's why I said I hate this question. Because, look, I am all on. Look, I'm all on with both hands, both feet. I'm on the Joe Burrow bandwagon. Right. I'm on it, and I'm never getting off it. I'm never getting off it because the guy has a makeup that is unique. It's going to go down in history as being one of the greatest. Just think about what he did yesterday. He exercised that demon of the Cleveland Browns yesterday with just Jamar Chase. No T. Higgins, no Tyler Boyd. He did it with just T, and they ran the football. He is as resourceful as any in the NFL. I think he is the answer to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, right.
And that's going to be the battle that we're going to watch for the next 5-10 years.
Yep, when you say until he does it, well, Burrow's done it. None of the other guys have. All right, time for What's the Word? Jeremy Fowler gives us the latest on some notable injury updates. Jeremy, let's start in Denver, where their QB1 is hurting. The word on Russell Wilson.
The word is bummer because he went into the concussion protocol. He was having his best game as a Denver Bronco during an awful season. In the third quarter, he had 304 total yards and 3 touchdowns. He was giving them a chance, and so has to go out of the game. I'm hearing he's feeling pretty good. He'll have to go through the 5 steps of the concussion protocol in order to play this coming week, but it's a bummer that he had to go out in his best game.
What's the word on Quinnen Williams, Jeremy?
The word is optimistic. This is a day-to-day situation on his calf injury. That is a sigh of relief for the New York Jets and one of the top young interior lineman in the league. So they were hopeful that it would be good news, and it has been. So this is an injury they can manage. He's questionable for this week's game, but they got the Lions coming up. They're sitting at 7-6, have to win that game for the playoff push, hoping Williams helps them.
What's the word on Deebo Samuel?
The word is whew, or how do I say it? Whew. The sigh of relief from the 49ers, who originally thought that this looked really bad, and we all saw it on the broadcast, but they were relieved to hear that it is an ankle sprain of some sort. There's nothing structurally wrong with the ankle. They're waiting on the MRI results, probably a high ankle sprain, which will cause him to miss, a few weeks, but they're going to have him back for the playoff push. That is great news for San Fran.
Thank you, Jeremy. Great Lisa Salters is always on the scene for Monday Night Football. Lisa, Bill Belichick was in his first year as the Patriots head coach the last time New England was in last place in the AFC East this far into the season. Are there any changes on the horizon for the Patriot offense?
Yeah, Max. Well, at 6-6 and currently on the outside looking in of the AFC playoff picture, the Patriots are desperate for a win tonight, but they've got to figure out a way to jumpstart their stalled offense. They've scored exactly 10 points in 2 of their last 3 games, and entering the week, their red zone touchdown efficiency was tied for last in the league. In New England's Week 13 loss against the Bills, Mac Jones was seen on the sidelines blasting Matt Patricia's play calling. Bill Belichick told reporters this week there would be no changes in the way the Patriots run things on offense. He said, "I think we need to do what we're doing better." As for the fallout between Patricia and Jones after that outburst, Jones told us that he has a great relationship with his play caller, that the two talk all the time and have had several good conversations that they needed to have this week. Jones said, "I have no problem with Matty P. I think he's worked really hard and is doing everything that he can to put us in position to win." Max?
A lot of Kyler Murray drama, meantime, in Arizona this whole year. What does he have to say about what's so far been a disappointing season?
Yeah, well, Kyler Murray says he accepts all the criticism that he's been getting because he said when you're the quarterback, you get paid, and then when you're losing, the scrutiny is going to come. But Cliff Kingsbury said much of the story of the Cardinals' underachieving season has to do with injuries. He pointed out that Murray missed 2 weeks of training camp. Then DeAndre Hopkins got suspended for the first 6 games. And just when Hopkins comes back, Marquise Brown breaks his foot. Zach Ertz is now out for the rest of the season after having knee surgery last week. Rondale Moore is out tonight because of a groin injury. And then there's been a revolving door on the offensive line. 12 different players have started on the Cardinals' O-line this season. That's second most in the league behind the Rams. So Kingsbury said it's just been a perfect storm for not playing good offensive football, something he said neither he nor Murray have had to deal with in the 4 years together, their 4 years together. It's the first time we've really dealt with this kind of adversity, Kingsbury said, and we're just trying to push through and grow together.
Thank you, Lisa, and I hope Mike T was listening very carefully to what you just reported about the Arizona Cardinals, because in a little while, we're going to be debating the extent to which this is a must-win game for Bill Belichick tonight. Thank you, Lisa.
I'm taking copious notes.
Tom Brady and the Bucs offense continue to struggle as the Niners, led by Brock Purdy, absolutely dismantled Tampa. 35-7. It was the 3rd largest loss of Brady's career, and the GOAT has now lost 4 straight road games. The longest road losing streak of his career. Lewis, what's going on with Brady and the Bucs?
Mac, this is a team that just looks gutted, especially on the offensive side of the football. Their spirit, their intensity, their attention to detail, their consistency, none of it is there. None of it, absolutely none of it is there. Just when you think they can capture the line of scrimmage and maybe revitalize the running game, they abandon it. They look soft. They don't run the football with any authority. Just when you think in situations that this team has kind of used those situations to spark like this, reawakening, and that maybe they can carry it from one series to the next, one game to the next, they can't do it. And this thing that is going on, I'm telling you, I've been talking about this now for weeks, this thing that is going on between Tom Brady and Mike Evans, where Mike Evans, one of the most prolific first down producers in the NFL, one of the most prolific red zone wide receivers in the NFL, the fact that he can go a whole half and not get targeted, outside of one catch that he has in the beginning of the game due to a busted coverage, and he just gets forgotten the rest of the game. That's indicative of this entire season for this team, and I just don't see how they turn it around and become any kind of factor as far as the postseason is concerned.
Mike T.
Yeah, I agree with that, what Lou's saying. Like, they got old overnight, but I think a big reason for it was really up front. Ryan Jensen was really Tom Brady's security blanket. He was an all-pro center, and Tom Brady knows more than anybody, I need to step up in the pocket. And from there, everything went sideways. And Rashid White was a guy that they were counting on. He had a big fumble that we're showing here yesterday. And when Tristan Wirfs goes down, you have an age and speed-deficient player in Tom Brady and a bad offensive line, and that leads to a bad combination. I think the other big play yesterday was that Donovan Smith holding call, because if they score that big chunk play to Mike Evans, maybe the whole game's different.
Look, up front, no question, because I got trapped into thinking I thought the cliff would come just because no one had ever played it past 41 at a very high level. And then I thought I saw it coming because he didn't have any receivers to throw to. But once he got receivers, he was great again. I will not believe that Brady is cooked until I see him with a real offensive line and he's playing like this and getting these kind of results. But I will say this, guys. Brady existed in a league where you could be slow-footed. Not every quarterback in the league rushes for a ton of yards, but they're all mobile, at least within the pocket, like very mobile. And when I look around the league now, other than Brady and Ryan, the dinosaurs, and Mac Jones, Belichick guy, there are no more robots. There are no more slow-footed statues. They don't exist anymore. So in addition to Brady getting older and not having a line, he's playing in a league where everyone else can move, right?
Well, Kirk Cousins is pretty much...
But Kirk Cousins is not, to me, not a statue, Lewis.
Yeah, but you know what, Max? I don't really think that... that's a factor, but I don't think it's a significant factor only because of this. It's a significant factor if you're right, if the interior offensive line cannot withhold the pocket and keep it secure. Then it becomes a huge factor. But this game is set up for people like Tom Brady to play forever because of the fact that downfield the passing game is officiated in such a way that allows you to throw it all over the place. He's spoken to that fact himself. He said that's what has also helped him stay in this game and stay as productive as he has been. I think there's this other factors going on, too. The wide receivers look slow. The chemistry is off. They just don't seem like they have the same competitive spirit as they've had in the past. They just don't. And I know you can't put that on a stat sheet, and we can't put that, on next-gen stats, but it's a real factor, man, and it's plaguing this football team. There's just no doubt about it.
I'll remind everyone how it ended for Michael Jordan, right? Guys who are that competitive. He still was averaging 20 points a game, but that wasn't Jordan anymore when he was 40. Everyone who just thinks, well, Brady's he'll have it after this season. The guys who are this competitive, I'll believe it when I see it. All right, it's time for another edition of My Word Against Yours. The debate topic. Oh, wait, no, here. First, we're looking at the current playoff picture in the NFC. Eagles, Vikings, Niners, Bucks lead their division. Seahawks and Lions trying to unseat the NFC East teams holding wild card position. Seahawks stumble, but the Lions are coming on strong. Right now it's time. I was so anxious to get to this. So anxious to get to the debate topic. Are the Niners the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC? Lewis, are the Niners the biggest threat?
I absolutely think so, especially if, I know it's a big if, and we don't have all the answers right now. Well, we don't have an answer right now. If Debo is able to play in the postseason and Debo is able to play at a high level. If he is, there's no question about it. Their brand of physicality, their level of physicality, I said this before this game was played yesterday, it would overwhelm Tampa Bay. And that level of being able to impose your will is exactly the kind of thing that you better have, I think, to deal with Philadelphia, because they can play that way too. They can play that way up front on the offensive line and with their defensive line. They can do the same thing. Dallas may be able to do it with their pass rush, but the game has to set up correctly for them. They have to be ahead, and then they turn the dogs loose on you. Their offensive line doesn't overwhelm anybody, and their defensive line against the run, they're not overwhelming anybody either. I think San Francisco can do that. San Francisco can play however you want to play it. And so can the Philadelphia Eagles. That's why I think these two are the ones that are going to end up ultimately being the class of the NFC.
Mike T.
I'll go with the Dallas Cowboys. And look, I'm encouraged by Brock Purdy like everybody else in the game and a half we've seen, but I'm going to go with somebody else. And Dak Prescott, and all he's done is since he's come back from injury is led the NFL in points scored. And this offense, to me, has a chance to actually get better. I know they lost Terrence Steele, but they're going to get back Tyron Smith. And defensively, they're a little bit apples to oranges, but for one game, I'm still going to take Dallas because their pass rush could just change the game immediately. So to me, I'm going to go with Dallas. I'm going to go with Dak Prescott. I'm going to go with Tony Pollard. I like a lot of what San Francisco's doing, but in one game, no one's going to want to see number 11, Micah Parsons.
Now, you know what? Because of what you said about Purdy, based on what I've seen so far, I think he does a very good job running this offense so far. I like the Niners. If they have competent quarterback play, they are really, really good. And I'll say something about Dak Prescott. And I believe he's very good and all that. He's in year 7. He has one more NFL playoff win than I have. In year 7. And every single year I'm hearing guys like Mike T, I don't know if you've ever felt this way about them before, but a lot of people at this network all across the country, at different years, the Cowboys, this is their year. Or they're going to be in the Super Bowl. They're going to compete for a Super Bowl. If you're on those kind of teams and you're in year 7, you have one playoff win, I don't know why you're giving them such a premium over Brock Purdy the way he's looked in a couple games.
Because it goes back to that goal line stand. This is a 10-win team right now that has a really good defense, so it's not just on Dak. Dak didn't play well yesterday. If Dak was sitting right here, he'd be the first one to tell us that. That's why I think this Cowboy defense and team is different.
Texas men's basketball coach Chris Beard was arrested Monday morning on a felony domestic